Hi, Jonathan Lucas here. I've very willingly taken up the challenge to do 7 stories in 7 days, and hopefully I can impart 7 valuable lessons for others to pick up on. Basically, I'm going to go back to pretty much where my career started, and that was working for my father in one of the 2 family businesses that he owned and ran. We had just negotiated a agency for the state of Queensland, Northern Territory and Northern New South Wales for equipment primarily we thought would satisfy the impending legislation that the New South Wales government and the legislation that the Queensland government followed with for open date coding, or what's now probably best known as best before date coding. Basically, the lesson I'm imparting is that governments, whether they be federal, state or local, can often be the source of enormous growth for business if you keep an eye out for what they're planning on doing, and if you can fit into their plans in some way, often you can actually even sort of help push them in the right direction. So what we ended up doing was supplying this date coding equipment to some of the household brand names around the place, and probably the most memorable for me was Smith's Snack Food Company, where I had 18 of these little units sitting on the back of the machines that pack the chips, etc., going up and down 40 times a minute, 16 hours a day. And the good part for me was every time they went up and down, they pulled a little bit of tape through, tape that was called hot stamping tape, that we sold to them. There was also brass type that actually, back in those days, you had to load the date into the machine as brass type. They seemed to want to lose a whole lot of it, so that was another bit of a money spinner for us. Long, tall, short. Enormous growth for us over a period of probably 12 to 18 months, and we ended up with some, as I say, household names. Smith's Snack Food Company, as I mentioned before, Arnott's Biscuits, Paul's Milk, the major dairy for the Brisbane, southeast Queensland area, Golden Circle, Forex Brewery, etc. So keep your eye out for what federal, state and local governments are doing, and see if you can jump on the back of something that they're developing. Okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow, another story, another lesson. Catch you later. Bye.